Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday, 9 o'clock p.m. here in Ireland, in London, 10 p.m. for Charles and Rodrigo. So good to have you all here. It's nice. We are officially in summer. Summer for those guys who are in the continent, for myself and Silvia. Summer for us is 16 degrees. you know? Yeah, so thank you all. And today we will talk about the origin and nature of the spirits. It's a wonderful topic in which we will study the spirit, where they come from, how it's formed, uh, if we have an end or something like this. So it's important for those who are initiating in the spiritism studies, and I would recommend to everyone to share this video here to all your friends who are uh, beginning on the spiritism studies. Okay, so let's go to our introductions. And today, as our special guest of the month, we always have our friend Rodrigo Ortega from Spain. So, Rodrigo, ¿cómo estás?
Pues muy bien, muy alegre de estar con vosotros, recuperándome del COVID también, entonces tengo un poco de tos, os pido perdón, un poco de paciencia y voy a intentar hacer mi mejor aquí hoy. Y hoy hablaremos de un tema muy importante, como dijo Stevan, un tema que es, vamos a decir, casi que el tema central del espiritismo, ¿no? De lo que nos trajo, todas las enseñanzas que tenemos, el conocimiento del yo como espíritu, de cómo nacemos, cómo progresamos, a qué estamos destinados. Entonces, muy contentos de estar aquí hoy hablando sobre este tema y espero que os guste. Y, well, thank you everyone for joining us today. So I think the topic today is very special. Is one of the central topics of spiritism in terms of science, and which helped us to learn our progress, our destination, where we come from, and a little bit about our essence. So please forgive me because I'm recovering from COVID with a little bit of cough. So I'll try to do my best here and to overcome this cough. All right. So thank you all and be with us.
Good, good, good. And also our dear friend Elsa, she's not here live with us, but she's watching us. And we we say to her a speed recovery. We're missing you. So let's go to UK. Miss Gibbons, are you enjoying your 16 degrees summer?
Yes, actually, it was nice. It was rain, sun, wind, sun, rain, but it's nice and warm. It's lovely, actually, not too hot. So it's nice to be here again. It's a privilege, and we pray that each and every one of us watching us are well, and that we meet you all in health and in peace. And we hope, as Rodrigo said, this is a very important subject, and it's one of the main subjects in Spiritism, really, the understanding of what a spirit is. So we hope you ask questions, make comments, and may God bless each and every one, and send a special blessings to Elsa, for that she may be healed very soon, and that Rodrigo as well gets better really, really fast. And so thank you and welcome everyone. E boa tarde a todos, ou bom dia, onde quer que vocês estejam. Grande prazer de estar com vocês. E que as bênçãos do nosso Pai, o Mestre Divino, estejam sobre nós. Amém. Thank you.
Okay, now let's go to our really summer right now. France.
Bonsoir, Stevan. Bonsoir à tous. Très heureux d'être à nouveau parmi vous ce soir sur ce sujet qui est effectivement, comme mes deux collègues, mes deux frères l'ont déjà dit, mon frère et ma sœur plutôt, passionnant, hein, très intéressant, ce que le spiritisme apporte beaucoup de nouveautés. Et la science, elle est encore assez loin derrière, elle n'a pas encore vraiment réussi à entrer dans ce sujet. Voilà, donc le spiritisme est un peu en avance sur son temps. Hello, good morning, good evening. Very happy to be here again with you today, this afternoon here in France, this evening, to talk about this subject. It's quite important. Spiritism is bringing, the spirits brought some teachings which are quite advanced, that science did not enter yet. So Spiritism is somehow ahead of time and brought this disruption in conceptions of matter in the world. So let's try to develop this subject today with you.
Okay, great. So I want to say hi to everyone who is watching us. Please, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, write in the comment box and we will try to answer your question, because here we are learning all together. And as usual, let me put it here, my video. Let's see what the Spiritist Academy prepared for us today.
Spirits are the intelligent beings of creation. So, you are a spirit. We are spirits. Let's explore together our origin and nature. We are God's work, and we were formed from the intelligent element of the universe, but the exact process of our creation is still a mystery. Each spirit was created individually and evolves through the kingdoms of nature, where it learns to master instinct, attains intelligence, and from it, free will. The spirit is surrounded by a substance that we call perispirit. Peri from the Greek meaning around. The spirit gets its perispirit from each globe's own universal fluid. In passing from one world to another, spirits change their envelope just as you change your clothes. Spirits are everywhere. There are even some who are constantly at your side, observing and acting upon you without you being aware of it. This is because spirits are one of the powers of nature and one of the instruments that God uses for fulfilling the providential designs.
Okay, one nice video, one more nice video from Spiritist Academy explaining all these questions for us. And as we saw in the video, spirits are intelligent beings of creation, and they not populate just the Earth, populate the entire universe. So in other planets, in other galaxies, we do have spirits there in different forms, but we do have spirits. Yeah? And God is the intelligence. Since God is the intelligence, we are full of divine qualities. We are God's children because we are His creation. Okay? So everything starts with God. If something starts before God, so the God, it is what's coming before. Okay? And the spirits are eternal. And based on this, I'd like to start my turnaround here with Rodrigo and say, Rodrigo, according to my explanation here, we do have divine qualities, but why we have bad and good spirits?
This is a good one. Because we are rebels. No, jokes apart. So we are, I think, to answer your question, we need to divide it in two. First of all, what is really the divine qualities we have? Okay, so coming back to the initial video we saw from the Spiritist Academy, so our God created two main things in the universe. So the matter principle and the intelligent principle. The spirit is, let's say, a progress of or a evolution of the spiritist principle. So we evolve, and we let's say we do some internships, let's say this way, in all the natural kingdom. So through the minerals, to vegetables, and then in animals. In which one of them we create or we develop a kind of seeing, or how can I say, skill or capacities that will be how can I say, enabling us as spirits to develop another thing that we need to develop, which is the intelligence. So spirit is created by God, and what defines us as his creation, or his biggest creation, let's say this way, is our intelligence. So we are capable to learn, and we are capable to progress. We are capable to decide to ourselves. So our free will, as we have seen in the video, so is what defines us, or what makes us different from our the previous stage we had, which is in the animal. So in animals, as animals, we our intelligent principle, we were developing basically instincts, or we were developing the mobility or the other aspects, but we didn't have free will. So our decision power was, like, let's say, blocked or programmed for us to not to be doing bad things with us, because if we had intelligence in that stage, we would be doing bad things with us. So then when we start, we are we become spirits. We are intelligent, we have the intelligence, and we have our free will. So those are the two divine qualities we have in potential. Why I say in potential? Because we, as we see in the spirits book, so when God created us, so and when we become spirits, we are simple and ignorance. In what? We are ignorant in the knowledge. So we have the intelligence, but we are not, let's say, with our intellectual skills developed. So we start developing the intellectual skills through our intelligence as we are living, as we are progressing, as we are committing mistakes, as we are passing through the trials that God provides us. So this is the divine quality that we have. So the intelligence and the free will in that stage. So we are like, I used to say that we are. It's like a hardware and a software. So we are, when we are spirits, we are, when we are just created spirits, we have the hardware with full potential to learn and to progress and to be doing good things and great things. But we need to develop the software to make use of this hardware and to be able to use it efficiently and properly. Why we need to learn? What we need to learn? We need to learn how to decide. We need to learn to do good decisions according to the God's law. So this is the divine quality we have. So intelligence and free will. And of course we have in our in our conscious the God's law. So, but of course, what we need to understand, what we need to learn, is to use this intelligence to know things and to know the good and the bad things. But we also need to exercise our desire to do the good things, to go and to act according to God's laws. So this is from one side. And then, if we have these divine qualities are not finished in itself. So we have those to be developed, to progress. And then why we have bad and good spirits? First of all, defining bad or good, I think it's a bad way to define it, because even according to the spirits in the spirits book, the bad spirits, they are not bad. They simply ignore the good things, how to be good. It's bad is means I am ignorant on how to be good. I don't understand how to be good. I'm learning this. So, of course, when we start as a spirit, we start in the same stage, in the same point, because God is fair. So we don't have any advantage among us. So we start in the same stage. But we use our intelligence and our free will to take different ways. So we are receive trials in life to learn, to progress, and this intelligence aligned with the free will, we take decisions and we choose different routes. So I can choose one route and learn from that. If I'm not, how can I say, I don't rebel myself against that. If I support the trials and I pass through that, I can survive. I can, let's say, pass through the trial and I can progress. There are spirits who are, let's say, succumbing, or they are not accepting the trials. So they need to pass through other situations as spirits, incarnated or not incarnated, to polish, I mean, to learn from that situation and to to choose a better route in the future. So, answering then to your question, there are not good or bad spirits. There are simply ignorant spirits on the good. So, they do not know how to do good, how to behave according to God's law. And when they choose their paths according to their capacity of using their free will, I can take good decisions or bad decisions, and this will define how I'll be passing through my experiences in life. That's why some spirits they progress faster than others. And of course, one thing that the spirits they bring in the spirits book as well is that um, when we are in that stage, we are, how can I say, uh, harassed, or we receive a lot of temptations, not only from the material world, but also from other spirits who are also not, let's say, who are also ignorant on the good. And then they also tempt us, and now if we don't resist on their evil influence, let's say this way, we also succumb and we also take bad decisions, and we need to learn from that through expiations or trials. So, having said that, our capacity to choose and our intelligence development makes us choose in different ways, and these different ways makes us like go to one direction and another direction, and God will make sure that we have the right experiences in life to how can I say, to correct this path and to come back to the right path in the future. We are destined, I mean, we are created for the happiness, for for enjoying the happiness, for being pure spirits. The only thing is that some will take longer than others because of that, what I have just said. So that's my answer to your question, Stevan.
Wonderful. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Yeah, it's even Nancy. She likes your comparison. And we have a question from her here. I would say, Rodrigo, if you know the I take you breathe, recover because we already spoke.
This
Let
is a
me
nice
know.
question.
Yeah, in which category of spirits the elementals are included? So, Charles, can you help us? Let's have Rodrigo rest a little bit here.
I think Charles is in
You,
mute.
you're in mute, my friend.
Sorry.
Don't be shy.
It's not an easy question for me. What do you mean by elementals? That would be
Elementals
my
are not
question, but
spirits.
this
Yeah.
is what I think, yes.
Elementals are not
So,
spirit.
Yeah.
It's relating to nature. It's a power of thought, and they are not spirits.
I have
Elementals.
studied this a little
No.
bit, elementals, if I can answer or try to answer, because it's still in the, let's say, in the spiritism, the codification, we don't find, let's say, a clear explanation about that. This is something which came after that, and we find these elementals a lot in the Umbanda and Candomblé, in other spiritualistic let's say, religions in Brazil. So we can, but of course, we can put this in the spiritism. So in the stage that what I have learned from that is that elementals are spirits which are passing through the phase of from animal to humans. So sorry, there is a firefighters here center here nearby. So these elementals are spirits which are progressing, still in the progress between being animals and spirits. So they are in that stage that they are still not spirits, but not even animals. They are progressing. They are used by good spirits and sometimes by bad spirits because they don't have this capacity of judging well developed. So to work and to help us in the nature, in other aspects. So they use a lot. For instance, there are some elementals which they use to clean, an environment which is like have bad fluids or something like that. But this is really not something. This name elementals, something that we see in the Spiritist doctrine. So this name elementals. We see this much more in other spiritualist religions. Of course, when we go to the Robson Pinheiro, for instance, is in his books, the Aruanda, for instance, he speaks a lot about elementals. There's a lot of things he brings to us in his book Aruanda. But of course, we know that sometimes these kind of concepts are not very, let's say, it's a kind of a taboo in the Spiritism, I can tell you.
Okay. Ms. Gibbons, you want to
I'm
compliment
not
something?
even a part of it, that's why. I heard the word already, but I must admit that. Thank you, Rodrigo.
Well, elementals in its true meaning, without reading in things that people put into their books, it's a supernatural entity relating to or thoughts, and so they are not spirits. You cannot say it, not within the understanding that we have from spirits, from the codification. There are a lot of names people put into it and a lot of explanations, but they are not spirits, so they will not go into any a category. We don't, and it's not because it's a taboo issue. It's just that it's not within the codification. And if we bring this stuff, that we'd be inventing things that the spirits actually did not teach us. That's all I want to say. And I think, once we go to maybe Charles' answer and a little bit of the explanation about what a spirit is, maybe they'll be better understood. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Charles, my friend, just following the trend here, are the spirits immaterial because I cannot see it, I cannot touch it? So
That's
what's
also
the
a good
elements of
question.
a spirit?
That's also a good question. Basically, spirits are teaching that in ourselves, humans, there are three things. There is the physical body, so this is material. This is what science and medicine or whoever is studying. This is what we have to carry to spend energy if we climb a mountain and so on. So it's our body is material. That's one thing, and this is exactly what science is seeing, and sometimes the materialist scientifics are only considering the physical body. They just ignore what is not material, okay? Then the spirits are telling we have also a spirit, a soul, a spirit, and we have a third thing, and the spirit, now we come with the word immaterial. The word immaterial for the spirit is not a good expression, because the spirit is something, even so it is not material in the sense of the tangible matter of our physical body, okay? And then there is even a third thing, body, which is the perispirit, okay? Which is the envelope of the spirit. And this is so-called semi-material, or quintessentialized matter, or etherealized matter. So there are several expressions for the same expressing the perispirit. Can we touch or measure the perispirit? No, not like the physical body, okay? Albeit it's also a form of matter. So what we can say is that the matter does not exist only in the condensed form as we know, from solid, liquids, gases, fluids, or whatever. It exists also on other forms which have a lower density, okay? And this goes much beyond, because, for instance, we know that if we send now a laser spot here from the Earth, it will take several hours to reach Jupiter at the velocity of the light, which is 300,000 kilometers per second, okay? So this is a hard limit for the matter as we know, because if your mass is not zero, you need an infinite energy to go at this speed, at 300,000. And the light is going at that speed because the photon, which is a light particle, has a mass which is zero, okay? So this is a hard limit for the matter that is studied by science up to now, which I call also the Einsteinian matter, because it follows this famous law that energy is equal to mass times velocity of light at square, okay? The perispirit does not suffer from this same limit. The spirits are telling us we go from Earth to Jupiter at the velocity of speed, so which means basically almost instantaneously. So definitively, the perispirit is made of a type of matter which is much lighter than the matter that we know. Okay, and then the spirit, it's even more. How to say? It's even less matter. So this is why we use the word immaterial, but this word immaterial is not the right word. In the question 82 of the Spirits book, Kardec is asking to the spirits, is it correct to say that the spirits are immaterial? And then the spirits are answering, how can we explain you something when you don't have the words for us to explain you what it is? Okay, so immaterial, they say, is not the right word. Maybe we should put incorporeal, you see, something else, because the spirit is something. It has a reality, a tangible reality. The proof of that is that it is, how to say, embodied by the perispirit, which is a spiritual body. So there must be a field or something which is aggregating this matter of the perispirit around the spirit, which in turn, this perispirit is also aggregating the physical matter. When you see, for instance, the embryo development, you have first one cell, which is what's the name in English? Trunk cell, I think, cellule souche in France. And it divides in 2, in 4, in 8, which are identical cells at the beginning. And then all of a sudden, you see that you have a 3D development to make the arms, the fingers, the feet, the head. And then you see that some cells are doing the bone, some other are doing the muscle, some other are doing the brain, all this complexity of the spiritual body. So how can we explain that? Huh? The law of entropy should lead to the contrary, which means from something organized to come to something which is uniform. Okay, here we come from something which is uniform and we go to something which is organized. So it seems to be negative entropy. Okay, and that's why how to say, there is a need of some energy or some model, organizing model around this development of the embryo. Otherwise, you cannot explain it. Some scientists are talking about an organizing principle. Some others are talking about a biological organization model, like what's his name? Hernani Guimarães Andrade in Brazil. And more recently, there is a scientist in France, is telling that there is some energy coming or information coming from the vacuum. And so this is also a very interesting word. What means vacuum? Vacuum is a place where there is no matter, okay? But as per the scientists today, without matter, like photons, electrons, or protons, or hydrogen, or oxygen, or whatever, there is no matter like this in the vacuum. Nevertheless, he admits already that there is some energy coming from this vacuum. And we know in the quantum physics, for instance, that in the vacuum, you can have statistically creation of a pair of particle and the corresponding antiparticle, which are coming from the vacuum, and then after a given time, they are combining together and disappearing again. So in the vacuum, some things are happening. So there is something in the vacuum, you see. And this vacuum is today used to describe all what is not matter. And the Spiritism came, the Spirits taught us 160 years ago already some very accurate information about this, that the matter exists in non-tangible forms, which are much lighter than the matter we know. So in the vacuum, they are showing that we have semi-matter for the perispirit, and we have also spirits, which are, again, the word immaterial is not adequate, which are something, a kind of a field, a kind of an energy, or, all these words are not correct. We don't have the vocabulary yet to describe this fully. And the spirits, they had quite tough time 160 years ago to trying to explain us something. And it's interesting because at the end of this question, Kardec put a remark. So I will read the part of the remark, which is very interesting. He wrote, "We say that spirits are immaterial because their essence differs from everything we label as matter. A nation of blind people would not have any words for expressing light and its effects, like the colors, for instance. You see? Those who are in fact from born blind imagine that they perceive everything through their hearing, smell, taste, and touch, but they would not be able to comprehend ideas that came to them from the sense they lack. In the same way, we are too blind regarding the essence of suprahuman beings. We cannot define them except by an effort of involving our imagination or by making comparisons that will also be imperfect." So what does this mean? Basically, the science today needs still to build a model, including words with a clear meaning, to express what spirits are really, not simply with the word immaterial, because this word is not adequate. So I hope I was not too, I expressed myself in an understandable way. Should you have any questions, I'm here to answer. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. No, yeah, it's very, very good explanations, and I love this explanation that Kardec wrote. It's so clear.
The spirits
Thank you.
brought, but his comparison. How will you explain colors to someone which is blind?
Yeah,
It's very difficult. So this is the duty of the spirits to explain us what is semi-matter and what is spirit. They exist, this for sure. This we have the evidence. Know their nature. That's then the next step.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And our dear Elsa, she put a comment here back to the discussion about the elementals. She said that what Divaldo psychographical book from a spirit called Selma Langerlof. And the name of this book is, I say in Portuguese, A Lenda do Milagre do Amor. And in this book, we have conversations and explanations about the elementals. Okay, thank you, Elsa. Thank you, my dear. Thank you for your behind the scenes participation today. And then now we go to UK. And my dear, does the spirits have an ending?
Oh. Can I just point out something, just complete something that Charles was saying
Of course.
about the void? In question number 36 of the Spirit's book, Kardec asked the spirits, does an absolute void exist in any part of space? And the spirits answer, no, there is no void. What appears like a void to you is unoccupied matter in a state in which it escapes the action of your senses and of your instruments. And I think now we know what it is. It's dark energy and dark matter, which forms 93% of the universe. The spirits are already ahead of us in about 160 years. So when you say that is energy coming from the void, we know that's this energy that now is known as dark energy and dark matter, which I think, the spirits had already told us.
Yeah, 97%, 97% of the matter in the universe, we don't know what it is.
Yes,
The matter
and it's
and the
interesting
energy.
because in the other question before that, the spirits, they tell us that everything that's material that we perceive as matter is created from a secondary fluid that we still didn't know what it is. And now we know that 20% of the universe is dark matter. So only what we see comparing the whole of the universe, and we're discovering things more and more, is only 4% of the universe. So when people say, I don't believe it because I don't see it, they're completely denying themselves because they don't see 96% of the universe in which they live, So, and I love these things because the spirits were so far ahead of us and science is catching up. So when Kardec said, if one day science doesn't work, leave spiritism and follow science, because he already knew that science has not reached where the spirit's book was anyway. So in answer to the question, and it's very interesting that you left this question to me, because question 83, I shall read the answer from the spirits, okay? Is there an end to the duration of spirits? And the spirits answered, well, there are a few more things, but I just resumed it into we tell you that the existence of a spirit has no end. That is all we can say on the subject at present. So that's it. There is no end, and that's it. That's all the spirits told us. So we know, it was pointed out in the video to begin, we are created by God. And we know, I made a few points just to explain, to maybe place more for my mind than anything else. What is a spirit? What is a spirit? For us to see if they're beginning and an end, how it all started. And the Spirit's book tells us that the Spirit is the intelligent principle of the universe. And there are three elements, the principles. There's God, Spirit, and matter. And that forms the universal Trinity. And that's the principle of everything that exists. And between them, there is universal fluid, which is the intermediary between spirit and matter. And that intelligence is an essential attribute of a spirit. And they both merge in a unitary principle. A spirit has a beginning, was created by God. But the Spirit tells us that we don't know how they were created, because we could not understand if they explained to us. So maybe when we progress a little more, we will understand that. The spirits are the individualization of the intelligent principle. So I think, when we go on talking about this and that and the other, I think we really should go back to the basic and understand what a spirit is before we make other comparisons, because the spirits are very clear. We are the intelligent principle. We are the individualization of the principle. So there is no end. And I think we are a physical body and we are a spirit. And when the body goes to the end and uses all the energy, that's called the vital principle, which gives life to inorganic beings. And really, it's like, we are like a machine, and we don't die. We just stop working. The body decomposes, and there's the principle, the vital principle that still exists, maybe just a little bit, exists in that body, will return to the universal fluid, be decomposed, will be transforming other elements, and will return. And the spirit will go to the spiritual world, will live in a different dimension, and he will keep his spiritual body. It goes on, and we know we'll reincarnate, we will have different lives, and new bodies will be formed in accordance to what the spirit has learned in a previous life. So the intelligent principle, which is outside of matter, and the spirit will survive the death of the physical body, and the spirit will live outside matter. And first, its nature is different from the body. The spirit has nothing to do with the body. It's a different nature altogether. And the spirit, that's important, I feel, enjoys the consciousness of itself. A spirit is aware of who he is. He's conscious. He has already reached a level of consciousness, so he knows who he is. And I think when we ask the question, who we are, where we came from, where we're going, is part of this knowledge that we have as a spirit. And we progress to our efforts to learn, to study more, to learn ever more, also through work, in working, because we know we are co-creators of the universe, and the more we progress, the more we develop, the more we are able to create. And also through service, to help one another, to progress one another. And it's important, I think, sometimes to realize that the spirits, as they progress, as they evolve, that idea of heaven, that the spirit would sit there playing the harp and doing absolutely nothing. It's anathema to the understanding of what a spirit is and what God is, because the spirits, the higher they are, the more advanced they are, the more enlightened they are, the harder they work, because they want us to grow and they help us. So they come as guardian angels, instructors, and all kinds of things. And so we will grow and develop. And as we progress, we become more and more enlightened, and we will have more understanding. I think this is very important for us. And the spirit will go through a very long process of development until it begins to have consciousness and awareness of who he is. So I think there is no end to the spirit, and there is only progression and development and evolvement. And we may stay in the same level for a while, but eventually we are all going to be enlightened spirits, because that's how God made us. Each and every one of us have the essence of God in us through the intelligent principle, because God is intelligent principle of the universe, so we're part of it. And we're only progressing. We only become more and more understand. But it will depend on our own efforts to progress. But the spirit does not die. There is no end to it. There is only progression in light. I think that's what I have to say. If somebody would like to ask a question or something. And I'll give you the questions in the spirit book, so you can go back and read yourself and understand it. It's in question 23, question 79, 83. So go to the beginning of the first and second, third chapter of the spiritual book, and you'll be able to see everything there. Because we need to go to the source. We need to go to Kardec, and we need to study it. To learn. And by the way, Rodrigo, you put a note here, in Loucura e Obsessão, they do not talk about elementals in that book.
Okay, misconceived. Thank you.
Okay, so today we have here a lot of comments here. So Mingao, Gagao, thank you for being here with us. Good evening. And my dear Silvia, as always I said, I always leave the easy questions to you.
It is very easy. They're three lines.
Yeah, no.
That's what the spirit told us. That's all we're going to say about this. There is no way, and that's all.
Yes.
So it was an easy one. Thank you.
Exactly. So, Charles, what do you think? Do we have any comments from Leon Denis about the origin of the spirits?
Yeah, that's another question which is not completely resolved in the Spiritist teachings. The origin of the spirits, Rodrigo told it very well. We have been, all the spirits, human spirits, have been created simple and without science. Ignorant means without science. Okay, but they have been created as human spirits. Okay. Now the question is, okay, but we talked about these elementals, which I looked a little bit through Wikipedia. It's a notion of occultism. Papus has used that as well, and so on. But it needs more study to be able to talk about it. But when we talk, for instance, about animals, okay, animals have also spirits, but it's spirit of animal. It's not human spirit. But they progress, they evolve as well. So a lot of people are with natural desire of selling, yes, when the animal gets the top of the evolution of animal, it will turn into a human spirit. Okay, this is not confirmed by the spiritist teachings, and by the spirits they never told that. They always told, okay, the spiritual principle explained by Rodrigo as well is developing itself along, for instance, on Earth, from the monocellular living beings to the pluricellulars and plants and animals in the waters and out of the water, and today until the Homo sapiens, since a couple of thousand years ago. Okay, so we see a huge progress of the evolution, not only on the material side, which has been very well explained by Darwin, but also on the spiritual side. But now, how is this transition between the spirit of an animal, for instance, and a spirit of a human? This question is not solved yet. We don't have the answer on that. What we know when we look on Earth is Homo sapiens appeared on the Earth in maybe some bodies of his ancestors, which are kind of, I don't know the name in English, with Homo erectus, and they came to develop it in a certain way to give the Homo sapiens. Okay, so there is, of course, these human spirits who came somehow to Earth in several stages and several waves in order to use these bodies which were the more adapted to their mission, and then push it to the evolution to the Homo sapiens. We know Neanderthal, we know Cro-Magnon, we know, this, and this is not so old. It's 2,000 years ago until 70,000 years ago, where of a sudden, and this is very interesting in the book of Yehuda Harari, this cognitive revolution, the Neanderthal, which was the strongest and which was always with Cro-Magnon living together since several 10,000 of years, of a sudden Cro-Magnon started to dominate at a point that Neanderthal disappeared. With some, of course, we have in our genes some percent or 10% of Neanderthal, because there were some mixing between both. So what is explaining this change, this cognitive revolution? The scientifics, they don't know. But we as spiritists, we do know, because we know that sometimes in several stages, the spirits are coming from other planets which are more evolved than the Earth, reincarnating on Earth in order to bring a transition, a push in the evolution of the Earth. So such push occurred 70,000 years ago in Cro-Magnon stage, and there was probably a second transition, which happened with what we call this Adamic race, which was more something like 10 or 15,000 years ago, and there you saw on the Earth Egypt with the pyramids, a lot of science, a lot of also the Vedas, all these religious books which have been written, the Atlants, the Greeks with the philosophy and so on. This appeared in the last 10,000 years ago, more or less. So that was a second wave. And what we are expecting today is a third wave of spirits which are more evolved, which will push Earth from this current level where we have a lot of evil and not so much good to the world of regeneration, where the balance between good and evil will be better than what it is today, and where hopefully there will be no wars anymore, like we still have today on the Earth. And this will happen through more evolved spirits coming to the Earth, and maybe less evolved earthly spirits reincarnating in a world like the Earth was 10,000 years ago. I sometimes illustrating it, they will go and paint hands on the walls of the caverns, So this is how to say, this is what we know from the teaching of the spirits, and when we make also the link with anthropology, with the science, corresponding science. So there is a kind of a progress here, but still how a dog becomes a human, this we don't know.
Thank you, my friends. Thank you. So, anyone wants to say something, to compliment something, or we can go to the announcements?
I was just, Silvia brought it very good. I forgot to talk about this universal cosmic fluid. So Silvia talked a little bit about it. And I told that matter, body, perispirit, and spirit are all transformations of the universal cosmic fluid. Okay. So it is pure at the beginning. When it is highly concentrating, it gives the matter tangible, as studied by science. When it is a little bit less condensed, it gives the perispirit matter that science is not capable, as Silvia told it, to detect with the current instruments. And through other transformation, it's also forming the spirits and the spiritual principle that Rodrigo described at the beginning.
Perfect. Thank you, my friends. As usual, a lot of knowledge we have here. And thank you for everyone's participation, Elsa's collaboration, and behind the scenes. Thank you very much. Let me go here to the announcements. So next week, the topic is, how does Spiritism understand universal space? So we are getting now to easy conversation. Nice. We have straightforward answers. It's very good. I like this. So we go to hard times here. So how does Spiritism understand universal space? So again, it's 6th of July and 9 p.m. UK time. Also, this Thursday, tomorrow, Guilherme Diaz will give a talk, Building the Future of Spiritism Together with Mediumship. This talk is on Spiritist Society of London premises. The address is here. You can see on your screen. Any problems goes to www.buzz.org.uk. And here our usual programs. Every Wednesday, 4 p.m., we have a break with Kardec, a coffee break with Kardec. Every Saturday, 10:30 a.m., London time, we have the study of the Mediums book. And every other week, we do have time to talk with Guilherme Dias and Rafael Caldas, and study of the book No Solar. So, a lot of events. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your collaboration and your efforts, Rodrigo, to be with us. We just recovering from COVID.
It's a pleasure.
Elsa is behind the scenes, and I'm pretty sure she'll be here among us.
We wish the best recovery for all of you.
Yeah, so you and Elsa deserve a best and speedy recovery.
Lots of cups of tea, Rodrigo.
Yeah, I'll take one right now.
Yeah, and also we extend our best wishes to our friends, special friend, now in the UK. She's in the hospital. I don't know if I'm allowed to say here, but let's send our best wish to her. She's in the hospital,
I think she's already left hospital, actually. She's back
Yeah.
home, Stevan. She's back
Okay.
home already. Yes,
That's
thank you.
good.
She's
That's
better,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Stevan, there is a question here.
Question?
Yes, actually, he's asking the address in Dublin of a Spiritist Center.
Yeah, Mingau. Yes, we do have a Spirit Center here. It was closed during the pandemic times. The premises we used to rent closed down. And just last Saturday, we signed a new contract with a new place. So stay tuned on our webpage, www.isf.ie. And shortly, we will disclose the new home for us. And our first face-to-face meeting will be on the 4th of September. So 4th of September, it's a Sunday, first weekend of September.
1st of September.
First week, yeah, it's on the 4th of September. We will have our initial face-to-face meeting here in Dublin, okay? I would say by the end of this week, beginning of next week, we will have the address already disclosed in our website. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Good night. God bless.
Bye-bye.
God bless you all. God bless you, Elsa, recovery. And God bless you, Stevan, for the new start.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Merci à tous.
Bye. Merci. Au revoir.
Bye. Cheerio, everyone. Bye.
Hasta la
À
vista.
bientôt.